holy shit, is that Sean?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we just happen to have drinks together, so yeah.
Okay, first question, Sean, why are you doing here again? I thought I interviewed you earlier.
Yeah, like he said, like we were just having drinks, so I didn't leave in time.
So you're basically like the unwanted guest that just stayed off for longer, man. I think you're gonna be like, I think you're gonna be like the Stanley of my series where you just appear like as and when.
The cameos,
Yeah,
man. It's a
yeah.
cameo. It's not unwanted guest. It's a cameo.
Yeah.
It's an extended cameo tonight.
Like, can you imagine like if I talk to somebody and there's like one guy that suspiciously looks like Sean walking past, and I'm like, why does the guy look familiar?
That's every other chubby Chinese guy.
Hey. A bit sensitive.
Guys, I do not want to do editing, okay? Cut me some slack, will you? But yeah, the interesting thing is that both of you grew up around the same parts, I believe. And
yeah, we grew up in we're practically the same neighborhood, but we only met at like gigs.
Yeah.
I've never met him in Potong Pasir until I met him at a gig, and then after, hey, fuck, you stay in Potong Pasir as well? Oh. And then we went back home together, absolutely sloshed. So yeah.
I'm not even surprised, man. But how do you feel like but it reminds me, because like sometimes, you know, when you go for shows and we ask people like, where do you live? And most of the time they're like, oh, I live in Tampines. Everyone else lives in Tampines. Or I live in Pasir Ris. Everybody lives in Pasir Ris. And then like you have this one or two people going like, oh, you know, I live in, for example, like, I live in Bukit Panjang. And then someone else will be like, oh yeah, so do I. Holy shit, we're like the only two people who live in Bukit Panjang. And then there's you, who is a proud resident of Potong Pasir.
Potong Pasir, man. You gotta be
Yeah,
proud,
you gotta be proud of Potong Pasir, man. Although right now we're a dengue hotspot.
Yes, yeah.
I blame it on Sean. Always blame it on Sean, man.
What did he do? Did he mate with a bunch of female mosquitoes or something like
Probably, yeah.
that? How do you do that?
I don't know, like, what's it again? Fox spider?
Oh, yeah.
So I said I'm pretty lucky today because I got like a 2-for-1 deal, man. But hey, I'm just gonna ask you guys questions all the same anyway. So like for you, Daniel, like while growing up, like how do you first get into like rock and metal music?
Well, that's very interesting because like when I was growing up, my mom used to play a lot of like Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin in the house. So it was always there, but you know, you don't really take notice of it growing up. And then when Michael Jackson broke out, right? It was becoming very big. This is especially during the Bad album release and all that. So that's when I started really paying attention to music, you know. And then you know you go back to primary school and all that. You're talking, oh, Michael Jackson and all that. And then back then on the radio, mind you, okay, I'm 38 this year, so there's a big age gap between me and him. So in my time, right, back then on the radio, you actually would hear Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, Poison, and all that being played on the radio. So back then we were like, oh, Guns N' Roses, Slash is the best guitarist and all that. And then some kid, right, I can't remember who, and then he brought like his brother's, elder brother's Kill 'Em All cassette. But no, put it in the school, the little tape player they have in school, you know, for music lessons. And then play. And first thing you hear is hit the lights and like, holy shit, this guy makes Slash looks like, you know, sound like an amateur or something like that. You know, no idea who it was. And like, and then that's where it started. So you started with that, and then it was Iron Maiden, Megadeth, all these old school bands. Unfortunately for me, when I finished primary school, I was the only guy in my entire school to end up in Pochuan Presbyterian Secondary School. So like, you know, lost all my khakis already, and then I got influenced by everything else, you know, boy band shit, but mostly a lot of alternative stuff like Oasis, Blur, you know, all the Brit bands and all that. And after secondary school, when I went to poly, I, you know, made friends again, made new friends, and then I revisited my roots with Metallica and all that. So I rediscovered Metallica in poly, and I've not stopped ever since. Yeah.
And I guess it kind of shows as well because like your love for Metallica is so apparent from your your Instagram user handle, for example, and
Yeah.
quite a number of
VG.
references to like a couple of references to Kirk Hammett as well. Like, what is it about Kirk Hammett that really intrigues you?
Like Kirk. So back then in poly, right? Like, so when I rediscovered Metallica in poly, so I was listening, like I was listening to Master Puppets. Yeah, I remember Master Puppets. Yeah, I remember this. I was listening to this back then. And then, borrowed a friend's copy of the Black Album. And at the same time, this is around the same time S&M album and the concert video came out. So I managed to get a copy of that on VCD. Imagine VCD back in the day. And I was watching Kirk play. I was looking at his guitars and all his custom guitars. I'm like, holy shit, the guy's got some really cool guitars, man. And how my Instagram handle and basically my handle on Facebook and all that, KH2VG, because I fell in love with the VG board custom. Whereas if you actually look at it, right, his original guitar has all of the misprints in the original VG board on the guitar. And honestly, Kirk is the guy who inspired me to pick up the guitar and start learning. Because, like, you know what? Look at how cool the guy was with long curly hair, the locks, and then he's going, two-handed tapping on the solo for Wherever I May Roam and all that. So yeah, Kirk, and then even James as well. Later on was James, because when you see him play Master of Puppets live, and everything is almost in downstrokes, like shit. It's quite crazy actually, like rediscovering your love for a band that you've forgotten about for so long. So yeah. That was
And I would
very
say as
lucky.
well, and I would
Yeah.
say as well, like it also complements the fact that you got to watch them live as well. So
Oh
how did
yeah,
that?
so I've watched Metallica live 3 times. And the first time I did, I actually flew down to Melbourne in 2010. So I watched them on the last show of the World Magnetic Tour. And mind you, I'm going there. I went down with Johnny from Mesiverse. So Johnny and I, this is a very good story. This is how Metallica is such a big part of my life. I met Johnny because of our shared love for Metallica. So back then, when I was still in poly, I was 17 or 18 at the time, and my dad used to drag me to churches back in the day. My dad, to put things in context, my dad is very conservative Christian, so he used to drag us to churches and all that. And I go there, I go to sleep because I'll be watching football the night before, and I need to catch up on some much needed rest. So I was sleeping during the service, and I was doing communion, and the church band featured a certain Mr. Jonathan Suresh, also known as the lead guitarist from Mesiverse. Okay, and now he's playing a Kali Yuga and his indie band, Virago. So before the service started, the pastor told him, hey, during communion, play something slow and melodic. And the slow and melodic song they had to play was the bridge part, not really the bridge, the little interlude in Master of Puppets, the coda. And lo and behold, I heard that, I woke up. I was like, holy shit, Master of Puppets? My mom was like, why are you awake? You're normally asleep. And so after the service, I went up to him, hey, bro, that's fucking cool. You play Master of Puppets during communion. You know what? Give you props to that. He's like, Metallica fan. And so since then, like we meet each other off and on. And we were really formally introduced to each other by a mutual friend. And ever since then, like we become very close actually. I'm very close to Johnny. He's been one of my closest friends for the past, like 20 years, man. And, proud to say, our friendship was it actually all started because of Metallica. So back to the story. So we flew down to Melbourne in 2010 to watch Metallica. Last day of the World Magnetic Tour. So after the first 2 songs, which was That Was Just Your Life and Fuel, James Hetfield takes the stage. Is like, okay, last day of the tour, we're gonna play something very special for you guys. The next thing breaks down into Disposable Heroes. I basically lost my shit right there. It's like, it was a very good show because we watched them play Call of Cthulhu. It's one of the songs they rarely play right now live. We watched them play Trapped Under Ice, Die Die My Darling. The Encore Jam, they played a bit of Escape. So it's quite fun. And yeah, and to further elaborate on my love for Metallica, in 2017 when they came to Singapore, so now Metallica's fan club, they run a competition for all of the meet and greets, and I managed to win the meet and greet, and I met Kirk, Lars, and Rob in 2017, and my goodness, I got serenaded by Kirk Hammett, so yeah.
We
that's
saw
a
that.
very
Man.
cool.
I think the moment we saw that photo of yours with Kirk Hammett, everyone was just like, wow, like this fucking awesome,
Yeah, a lot of people ask me how much you pay for it. Like, no, I didn't pay anything. I won a competition. It's very fascinating.
2017.
Yeah, 2017.
The night before I saw Black Sabbath, I was in London.
You lucky fellow. But that's the thing, right? Like both of us, we've gone overseas. We've seen a lot of shows. I think you as well. You've seen shows overseas, and it's the experience is great, but it doesn't compare to like seeing your favorite band here in Singapore. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Like back in 2016 when Scorpions was in Singapore, I won backstage passes as well. I didn't pay like an extra dime or anything. And meeting those guys in the flesh was kind of surreal because it's one of those bands that you never thought you would get to meet, like in person. Much less have a conversation with them. And I remember this fondly because leading up to the concert, I grew a mustache because I wanted to look like who was this?
Rudolf Schenker.
Rudolf Schenker, yeah.
Rudolf Schenker.
Back in the 80s.
I remember your porn star stash, man. And I vaguely remember that because after the show, right, we came out. I was with Subhash. We were pissed drunk. So I was like, hey, took photographs, and then we moved over to Paulaner Bra House to drink some more. And and then they all left, and I continued drinking at Crazy Elephant as usual.
And you know what the funniest thing was that when I spoke to Rudolph, I straight up told him, was like, the reason why I grew his mustache was because it's a tribute to you from the 80s. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good.
But they are great. That was a great show that night, honestly. I remember when they...
Yeah, I totally agree with you because like I watched them in 2014 in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and it was a good show, no doubt. But the 2016 show in Singapore was way better. Also because Mickey D was playing the drums.
Oh yeah, that little tribute to Motorhead, man, Overkill. And I remember Subhash and I like looking at each other like, this is the closest we get to watching Motorhead. Because we just lost Lemmy and we lost Filthy Animal as well. So yeah, it's quite, it's like, fuck, this is the closest we get to watching Motorhead, man. Let's enjoy it, man. We're just headbanging crazy. And people around us like, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but who really cares? I mean, like, you're at a concert, like,
No, we enjoy the music. Man.
Precisely. Like, you should not be static. You should be going out there and have fun.
Yeah.
Which and like Sean, like Sean, like who have you met, like in terms of your personal heroes, like in the flesh? Like for Daddy, he met Kirk Hammett. I met Scorpions, for example. And what about you?
Like in my line of work, I've managed to meet Brian May.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a major starstruck moment for me because I was not supposed to meet him, and I had a friend who knew I liked Queen so much. Brought me into the room. Brian May walked up to me actually, and he stuck out his hand and said, "Hi, my name is Brian." I'm like,
yes, I know.
And then I was helping him fill up his jacuzzi, which was on the balcony. Because that's why he requested me into the room for.
That sounds a bit pornographic.
No. It's a personal jacuzzi, so I'm just helping you to fill it up. And then, I wish I could join him. And then my friend, my colleague said to him, "Hey, Sean's a big fan of Queen." And I still remember that year, on the day, there was a very big full moon.
Like tonight?
Like tonight, but it was probably like 6+, but you could still see the moon so early in the day. And then one of my favorite songs from Queen is 39. And then I just got this. I just started talking to him about 39, like it's one of my favorite songs, and he wrote that song. And I wanted to take a photo, but yeah, the professional side of me did not take a photo, but yeah,
if it's a meet and greet, I think it will turn out.
of course, yeah.
But if it's a professional thing, you're not allowed.
That's why I didn't. But yeah, it's one of the things. It's one of the persons I got to meet, and very happy and sad lah. Because whenever I hear a Queen song now, I'm sad because I didn't get to take a photo with him.
Yeah. Well, you got a good story out of it.
It is.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even know about the story as well, but thank you for bringing it up. It's very interesting. Yeah. But also, like, while we're on the topic of like friendships and such, because like for you, Daniel, you spoke about how you met Johnny. How do you meet like the rest of the people in the rock and metal community, like guys like Subhash, Vic, and like basically like our hand and style guys?
Okay, so Subhash, I met him because my ex-girlfriend at the time. So she was hanging out with Jason. I remember, you know Jason? So Jason knows Subhash, and also she introduced me to Subhash and all that. So from there, met Vic and all that. Hung out a few times and all that. But I think we only got really close because of the Hell in the Cell. Let's face it, man. HIEC, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. So that's how I met like Subhash, Vic, yeah, Danny and all that. Is slightly different because like I said, I'm very close to Johnny and all that. So that's how I met like Cedric and the rest of Metaverse Cedric. Jasmine actually is my poly classmate.
Okay, so Jasmine Balov is in the female vocalist for Mesovis, right?
Yeah, she was my poly classmate. No, she's my polymate rather, not my classmate. But so I met her during poly already. So I was like, hey, you're playing with Mesovis? I was like, yeah, that kind of thing. Sam, Ejan, John as well. So I met all of them through Johnny. So Johnny is very close to Cedric, so more or less that's how our friendship started. And because of this, we go for gigs, and then I'm always hanging out with Johnny and introduce hey, met Dan and all that. So that's how I met a lot of people in the scene actually. And so after that, another one of my closest friends actually I met through Johnny is my namesake Daniel Sebastian.
DSP.
Okay. ESP. So back then we used to call him the Intensity.
What do you call him? Sorry.
The Intensity.
Intensity.
Hey, Intensity coming now. Okay, we all know who. So to differentiate, like in the group, right? Like so, it's that small group of us. It's myself, Johnny, Murali, and Daniel Sebastian. So back then we used to call him the Intensity. Okay, so hey, Intensity coming now. Okay, so Intensity is him, and I'm just Dan. So it's very simple. And interesting story about Daniel Sebastian and myself is, and Johnny as well. So like Johnny's dad and Daniel's dad, they grew up together, and that's how they know each other. So they're very close. And my dad, and actually, and by extension, my family, my father's side of the family, they used to work with Daniel's dad back in the day before I was born. So so when Daniel came to my house, right? This Daniel, then my dad and my uncles looking like, hey, your father's name what? Peter lah, Peter Bonjet lah. They're like, huh? What? Yeah, Peter lah. Hey, this one. I'm like, it's such a small world, you live in Singapore, especially like in the Indian community and all that. Because like almost everybody's like linked together in some random way, it's so weird. But yeah, like, Daniel Sebastian, yeah, he introduced me. He's the guy who introduced me to Robin. I think to you as well. Yeah. So yeah, of course, let's face it, that guy is like a social butterfly. He is a social, but it's a good thing for him because he likes to network and all that. It's like the rest of us, we tend to like keep to ourselves. But so he likes to network, and he's the one bringing people in. Yeah, he brings people together. Yeah, let's not deny that. Daniel Sebastian Peter bringing people together, and like Nokia connecting people.
Yeah.
Well, Nokia or any mobile company, if you're listening to this, please hire Daniel Sebastian. He does a really good job connecting people.
Yeah.
But also
The
it's
guy,
got like, yeah, but he does like shows as well. Like he promotes events.
oh yeah, he did the whole DSP thing. He said he was telling me, I tell you what, we're talking about it. I said, dude, honestly, if you want to do it, go for it. But my advice is make sure you're financially sound before you jump into this thing. Because as we all know, in Singapore, being a promoter, right, is very difficult. I'm not talking about the metal scene. Just talking about just being a promoter in Singapore.
general.
In general, in Singapore, it's very difficult because let's face it, the market here is, it's quite shit. You know, unless you bring in like one kind of crazy legacy act like Guns N' Roses, where you shortchange people by cramming as much as you can and all that shit. Otherwise, it's a difficult thing. So yeah, he did it, and let's face it, his shows have been successes, man. Always had fun with the shows.
Yeah, I totally concur with you, man. Like, I would say DSP does a great job in bringing in the bands, and all these bands that he brings in, they're not like some small fry. These are like well-established acts.
Yeah,
And
especially in the region, especially in like Southeast Asia and even Japan.
Asia, yeah.
Like he did Evil. And all that, yeah.
No, for Evo show, the best crowd was Bloodstone. Remember?
Local band, yeah.
Yeah, Bloodstone. I was all the way at the back. I couldn't even move to the front, man. It's crazy.
No, he knows how to. The fella has got very good networking skills. He does it very well, and no matter what, right? He tries not to have a feud with you. He can, you can try to find some issue with him, right? But you can't hate the guy. Guy lovable, Teletubby kind of thing, I can say that. The friend, I used to disturb him for this time.
you mean intensity?
Oh, yeah, we
Shit,
still calling it that for some reason. I don't know. Now we just call him, we call him the Don. We call him the Don because, like, the old school death metal or nothing. He started doing that. No more intensity. They lost it with the Don. The Don has spoken.
Oh boy. And I noticed as well, like based on like the group of friends you have as well, like Johnny is in a band, Daniel Sebastian does like promotions and everything like that. But for you, like, have you ever ventured into
I did actually. I
any-
actually had. I did. I actually played a show way long time ago. One-off thing, and then my band disbanded because first of all, being in the Navy, I was I sail here, sail there, barely have time. When I'm in Singapore, right, I barely have time for myself, much less to jam and all that. And I tried starting something up recently. Unfortunately, once again, my dear schedule is my schedule has interrupted things. I hope to pick that up again sooner rather than later. Because I do play guitar, and I've always wanted to I always wanted to play shows, play my own music rather, not just play shows or anyone can do a cover band thing. But I think it takes a bit more to be able to write your own music, write your own lyrics, do like proper arrangements and all that. So like it's like the past few months I've been hanging out with Randolph Ariola a lot. Ever since he started playing Crazy Elephant, so made friends with him, started hanging out with him, started learning a lot about music once again. And he's given me a lot of good advice. It's like, stop looking at whether it sounds in key, whatever. No, does it sound good? Sounds good, right? Can go with that. Stop limiting yourself by being so technical and that. So I have to start afresh again because like the past few with the circuit breaker, everybody's been at home except me. I've been stuck at work for various reasons, and stuck at work means not having access to my guitars and access to whatever I would like to do to, with all this thing building up, I can't express myself in that way. So after that, like 6 weeks, more than 6 weeks is like picking up the instrument again is like, like starting brand new. it's kind of irritating. And honestly, it's really irritating for me.
No, but I
It's
think
like,
it's really cool that at least you are trying to do something like during this period of time. I mean, it's never too late to start a project.
yeah, I
I know,
agree. So,
yeah, like I know for a fact, like most bands, like they are able to kickstart whatever they're doing because they got to it at a younger age and everything, and they're able to continue doing so even though they have like commitments and whatnot, like national service or like adulthood or domestic
yeah,
matters. But like, I always believe that when it comes to passion and hobbies, like there's never like a finite time frame in which you need to commit. You can always pick it up anytime. You can always put a whole on it anytime. And
no, honestly, I don't think it's restricted to just passion and hobbies. I think life in itself, like for the longest time, we've been given pressure by your elders, your parents, your grandparents, family members. Oh boy, why are you? You're past 30, you're nearly 40. Why aren't you married? Like so, why aren't you doing this? Why you should be having kids by now? Like no, I don't want. I don't want to have kids now. I don't want to get married. No, it's a different. And
yeah, like what?
why are you always doing this? Like I enjoy it.
No, man. Then think about, but you gotta think about it as well. Like if you were to get married, like who's gonna take care of Crazy Elephant? Like they need their mascot, man.
I'm not the mascot. I'm actually the furniture. It's a different thing altogether.
Why not
Mascot,
both, man?
No. I'm not the mascot. Man. Mascot probably
But, like,
bully.
But I mean, like we say, let's say earlier, like every single time when we walk past like Boat Quay, like we'll almost always see
Clark.
a Crazy Elephant. Oh, sorry, is it Clarky?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Clark,
Clarky. Sorry, Clarky. That's the opposite side.
especially on
You
the
know-
weekend. No, because like for me on the weekend, especially on a Saturday, what I want to do is like I'll be at home, resting, relaxing, I'll do whatever. And so my mom doesn't usually cook dinner on Saturdays because she has to go for dialysis. So I'll head out, buy dinner, and like okay, since I'm out, might as well just go to the bar. And so I just sit down there, I'll bring a book, sit down there, music plugged in, and just sit down there and read. I think you've seen me do this so many times.
Yes.
I'm like I'm really like the odd duck, the crazy. Everybody's like sitting down there, trying to act cool, and then there's me with the book, Star Wars or Tolkien or some kind of weird book, non-fiction. And that's me. I just want to relax, chill. And like on Saturdays, Randolph would play. So after a while, he'll pop by like, hey, brother, what's up? We start talking. He go. When he plays the set, I'll stop listening to music and just listen to what he plays. And it's always interesting. So, yeah.
And you know the best part is, sorry, Sean, what was it?
I was gonna say the first time I went to a Crazy Elephant, right? I went there with a broken hand.
After the
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, for the record, like,
crazy white woman.
for the record, like,
That's a good.
which part of you has not been like fractured at some point? Like you're always like into some sort of accident, man.
No, but
I have not broken a single bone in my body yet. Excuse me, girls.
The first time
Take it
he
from
brought
Dan,
me,
man.
Huh?
Take it from
No,
Dan.
it's
See,
okay.
he has not
It's
broken
okay.
anything.
no, like the first time he brought me there, I had a broken hand. Like really bad. I was so drunk, I didn't even know I broke my hand. Yeah, that was the first time he brought me. That was like 3 years ago, I think.
It might have been 3 years ago, man. But I'll say that it's really cool to just have like Dan being at Crazy Elephant all the time, especially when I have friends for the tour. You're gonna come into Singapore to visit, and I would deliberately go to Crazy Elephant just to see if Dan is there, so that we can just say hi.
Yeah, it's somewhere decent to bring them to. I mean, you
Nah,
can bring
it's
them
like-
to
Yeah, I'll probably bring them to like Chips, like towards like the tail end of like the tourist experience, but they have to visit there, man. It's like a must. It's like a must do sort of thing. It's like if you don't go past Crazy Elephant and visit them, then you're not doing it right.
I think with Crazy Elephant is the location, and there's so many more things to do just besides the park. With Chips, it's a very I don't know. You just go there for the area to just hang out with your friends. So I don't think it's the most ideal place to bring
Yeah.
someone. It's not. I mean, besides the cheap beer,
Oh yeah, totally, man. Like, I'm also happy that we all got to visit Chips like just the other day and just recreate the flavor. And it felt kind of nice, man. After not being there for quite a while.
Yeah, but they didn't have the wings. We had to eat the sambal wings, which was not.
I don't care. It was still wings for me. But okay, now Dan is back. I do have
Sorry, I had to
Oh,
see you don't
don't worry
Yeah.
about it, man. Because I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you like one last question before we wrap it up, and that is your experiences overseas going for shows. And I know for a fact, actually, you tell us to everyone all the time that you go for Wacken annually, and
Right.
yep. And now that you actually mentioned Morale earlier, like that was like your Wacken stories in a nutshell. That's the best chance for you to tell everything that you know about Wacken under 10 minutes.
Without him
And
interrupting, right?
yes.
So it's like overseas shows, honestly, my first overseas show was in 2009 when I flew down to Melbourne to watch Morbid Angel. So, that was like the classic Morbid Angel lineup. So you had Trey, David Vincent, and the Commando, the Pizza on drums. And it was Destructor on the other guitar. Fucking great show. And then 2010, I went down again to Melbourne to watch Metallica. 2011 was the one where I went to Bangkok to watch The Haunted. I actually hung out with the band after the show because it was on a weekday. And so it's just hilarious because weekday, so there's like only like 20, 30 people in the rock, the rock pub in Bangkok. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Small pub, right? And there's only 20 people, 30 fans in the show. It's like you can just happily like stroll up to the stage because there's nobody there. People don't want to get too excited about it because the next day most of these guys had to go back to work. So they were there, had the show ended, like, they stayed a while, managed to get a few autographs from the band and disappeared. The next thing you know, I'm hanging out with the band. It was kind of weird. It was very surreal actually that night. 2011, so that was the Haunted overseas, and then a few other shows in Singapore. But I think everything really started when in 2017. So it had to start 2016. So 2016, news came out that Emperor was playing at Wacken, and I was at Crazy Elephant, and see, it starts with Crazy Elephant somewhere. Okay.
I should get to sponsor this show, man, since you keep mentioning them a lot.
Yeah, actually, you should. Crazy Elephant's the best place to be, man. I endorse it. Anyway, so I bumped into Murli and Johnny. They were out. They actually went to Peninsula to get some guitar stuff. And, since it's just around the corner, they were drinking there, like, confirm we'll meet this idiot. Somehow or other, you appear here. And and true enough, I did. And we're talking about it, and I'm like, hey, let's get tickets for Wacken. It's the best drunken decision I ever made. Actually, I had a few to drink, and by the time I convinced them, I bought 3 tickets and all that. But unfortunately, Johnny had to pull out because he couldn't get leave and all that, so he had to sell his ticket to someone else. So we ended up as Murli, myself, another guy. We went there. That's the first year. And the thing is, how everything got started for me at Wacken. It happened like in 2008 when I met this German dude, this random German dude in Crazy Elephant again. Who else? So I met this guy.
Sponsor this show.
Yeah, so I met this guy and we started talking, and I was like, where are you from, man? Germany, which part of Hamburg? Oh, that's pretty close to Wacken, right? Like, yeah, been there 5 times. Like, huh? This is 2008. I'm like, what the fuck? And we, both of us, honestly, that night, it's quite weird for both of us because both of us had work the next day. It was a Friday night, but I was on duty the next day. He had to go. He was doing some filming in Singapore for a German show. And he had to do some filming, and he couldn't stay out. Both of us were not supposed to stay out too late. We wanted to have an early night. We ended up talking to the bar close, and we ordered extra beer so to keep us company. I went home at 5 in the morning, showered, changed, and went back to ship to do duty. So that's how bad it was, okay? But we kept in touch, and when I told him I got tickets to Wacken, he was so excited, and so he's the guy that helps us arrange, like, okay, so when we touched down, when we reached Hamburg, okay, the big pieces of luggage that we don't need to bring to the festival grounds, we keep it at his house, and then we just go there with whatever necessities we need to camp out. He helps us arrange a tent, and we just go there as a part of this huge group, usually about 20, maximum 30 people. And so what we do is get there. Before we get there, so we meet at this petrol station in this little town called Itzehoe, just outside of Aachen. So these guys, they come from all over Germany, from Berlin, from Bonn, and all that. They come, they drive there, and there's like a little reunion there. First, have a few beers. Those who are not driving will have a few beers. The rest of them, the drivers, like, I will wait for the campsite. You know, they do this, and then when we get there, set up everything, and then go out full on party mode. So that's where for the first time in my life, I got actually scared about drinking that much. Because honestly, like, you know, the joke about Indians in Singapore is that we can drink, right? The stereotype is Indians can drink. You go there, you see a German drink, good God, it put the fear of God in you.
No, it's
I mean, like
fucking
this
angry,
guy,
man.
these guys, they wake up in the morning, brush their teeth, pour themselves a beer, and then they make their breakfast and they go, hey, let's drink. So we learn how, you know, the Bavarians have their breakfast, which, you know, the white sausage with the sweet mustard and a pint of Weiss beer with a banana mixed in, mashed into it. It's actually very tasty. It's actually very nice.
So yeah, I gotta stop you there. Like I had a German boss.
Yeah.
She's a lady and she's like 80-year-old. But back then she used to tell me like she used to drink when she was a kid because beer in Germany
it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah.
But it's not very heavy in alcohol and preservative. That's the main thing that gets you the
I don't know, but you know, like the German beers and mostly pilsners are very light.
very like
Not very, not, but you know, the alcohol content is so comparable to the lager. Yeah. It'll get you drunk. The same as you drink like 5 Tigers will get you drunk, right? 5 German beers will get you drunk. It's the same in terms of alcohol percentage.
yeah, but it's not.
But it's light, you know. You just drink it like water.
It's much more natural than something that's kept in the fridge.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. Man.
Yeah, so that's the thing that don't get you so hungover.
Yeah, you can wake up like. So like you want to ask about Murali? So Murali, Wacken 2018. So we just finished watching Behemoth, and so he and the guys they went to the okay, you must understand Wacken is like there's 8 stages throughout the whole place, and when Behemoth were playing at the main stages. So you got faster, louder, and faster, harder, and louder. These are 3 main stages. And in the tent, right, the Bullhead City Circus, they call it, there's the WET stage and the Headbanger stage. So Watain were playing there. And I didn't want to go and watch Watain because I once again made the big mistake of choosing to watch Danzig. Not a big mistake. No, I wanted to watch Danzig. You know, same thing happened to me in 2017 when I wanted to watch Marilyn Manson instead of Turbo Negro. Okay, so yeah, Marilyn Manson.
Big mistake, dude.
Yes, huge fucking mistake, you know, because Manson was high and like he was half the set was off the stage. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Okay, so Danzig in 2018 was terrible, and Murali and my friend, the other Singaporean guy, they joined a few of the from a campsite. They went to watch Watain, and Murali was being plied with booze while he was watching Watain. So he got back in time to watch Judas Priest. Okay, the thing was, he was so out of it, he was so drunk, he was watching Judas Priest like this, asleep on the other guy's shoulder. He missed the entire set. They had to, somehow they brought him back to the campsite. Okay, and I'm not kidding you, from the main stage, if you walk back to the campsite, you're talking about at least 1.5 kilometers. You know, it's a good 20-30 minute walk from inside back to your campsite. It's, you know, from right inside the festival grounds. So he got back. I got back later than him, slightly later than him, because I was watching some other bands and all that. I can't wait. I can't remember. I got back earlier. So whatever is he came, we were drinking some more. I was talking to somebody else and then he just fell asleep. He just fell asleep right there. I posted the photographs on Facebook, if you remember. You can search for them. Like, it's quite funny. And that's when we started stacking things on him. So we stacked. We balanced cups of teas.
I remember this fondly, man.
Yeah, you remember this. You remember the photograph. We just started stacking things on him. Everybody joined in for a group photo with him passed out right there. Took the photograph. Okay, and then before we put him back into the tent to sleep, We remove everything quietly. Like, hey bro, you need to get out, go and sleep today. Don't stay out here. Because you have to understand, at night there, it's absolutely very cold because of the wind. You're in the middle of farmland, the wind blows, you're gonna get, you're gonna freeze. You're not used to it, you're gonna freeze. So, hey bro, go and sleep, go and sleep. Okay. We slowly bring him back to the tent. Make sure he takes off his boots, goes in, sleeps. Okay? Then give him a bottle of water just in case he needs to drink in the room, right? And then I continue drinking with the rest of the guys. The next day, when he wakes up, right, everybody's like smiling at him. And he's wondering, like, the fuck is that? What is everybody smiling at me for? And then, like, he just said, I'm eating my breakfast, and this guy is in front of me. He's just looking like, turns around to the other guy, like, hey, why are people staring at me like that? Why are they smiling at me for? And I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it because he was getting so worked up about it. Like, what's happening here, huh? What do I do? I was like, did I strip naked or something? Like, and I burst out laughing. Like, you passed out, we did this to you. Like, you motherfucker.
And that's like and I'll say that's like the beauty of like going for like shows overseas where you are definitely out of your comfort zone, but also at the same time, you kind of like set yourself up for
for some nonsense to happen.
Yeah.
It's
unfortunately, the person is morally. So at least you're getting a good laugh over it. But I don't think morally is feeling the same.
But actually, I think the best experience about when you go overseas and watch shows, honestly, like you can see the difference between like the local scene here. The local scene here, right? Like you go for local shows. Let's not talk about the big shows like Metallica. We're talking about like okay, your standard show, your standard weekend gig, like maybe something done by Daniel Sebastian and all that. You go there, it's literally a reunion of friends. Like, hey bro, long time no see, like what happened to you? Like, hey, that kind of thing. You're just so.
That's the thing. I don't even plan with people. I just turn up and then everyone's.
And there've been times where like you plan to go there, you plan to watch a certain band, and you end up not watching that band because you're outside catching up with your friends.
I think you're all guilty of that, man.
No, and I love that. It's quite fun because you get that fellowship. It's something you when you go overseas, you make new friends. It's a different thing altogether. But that's the thing. That's the lovely part about the local scene in Singapore. It's small. It's a close-knit community to a certain degree. But let's face it. Like everybody knows. You mentioned this guy. Oh, I know that fella. That fella. Yeah. I know. Somehow or other, you know each other. Things intertwine. So that's the lovely part about Singapore. We got a small scene. I think the unity got cranked up a notch after the Watain incident of last year. But I think moving forward, the post-pandemic, right? I think this community really needs to band together. We need to understand that the promoters are gonna have increased costs. Definitely. I've been thinking about it. I'm thinking long and hard about it, and I can say for a fact, moving forward, in at least the next year or so, until like a vaccine is found, or the virus suddenly disappears, like what happened with SARS.
Yeah.
In terms of, you talk about safety precautions, like the promoters are going to have a hard time. Their overheads are definitely going to be higher, and they will not be allowed to have the same number of people. Capacities, by at least 25 to 50%. I'm looking at that. No, let's be realistic. So if you look at it, right, your lower capacity overheads are gonna, your gigs are gonna be more expensive. But I believe that, we will be able to support our local scene, our local promoters. We don't do it because it's trendy to be there. We do it because we do love the music. We do love it's the fellowship that happens as well. That's what I feel.
And I think it really shows as well, like, in spite of whatever that's happening right now, like, all of us are pretty much galvanized at the moment, and we all vocally have voiced out and said that, well, once shows are going to take place again, we are all going to go for shows. We are all going to, like, try to chip in and show much support in whatever capacity that we can. And I think this is, like, the beauty of our community, as opposed to, like, anything else that happens within our local context. Like, if you think about it, like our metal community, like we may not be able to see each other every day, or we only see each other like once in a while, but there's that instant connection once we see each other, like be it like through passing or through shows or even while at work, for example. Like there's always that instant connection. There's never like a hesitance, or like how, for example, like if someone from like school and you don't want to talk to that person, there's no like, oh shit, I need to avoid this person or anything. Like for us, like if you come across someone that we know from the metal scene, you will actually go up to that person wanting to
I
talk
think
to
I think the lovely part about heavy metal is, right, because it's such a marginalized genre, right? Then when you see someone wearing a hit, if you as a metalhead, you see someone like, hey, and I'm not talking about the stupid H&M sold Iron Maiden shirts, or it's some idiot like Robin was posting it, right, the decrepit birth shirt on Zalora and all. I'm not talking about that. Like you see a legitimate metal shirt, like there's respect. You see the guy, you nod your head, you flash the horns, right? You make a friend. That's how, like, Shark Neighbor?
No.
Shark Neighbor. So this guy, both of us work in Changi Naval Base. Okay, but I'm with the Navy and he is with STM. Okay, so the longest time, right? I see him, he sees me, like he sees my t-shirts, I see his t-shirt, But it took me a while before I saw him at the gig, because like he probably attend the gig, I couldn't attend because of work and all that, and vice versa. And finally we got together, and like, and now every time we see each other, we're like, hey brother, what's up? And start talking about music again. And people look at us like, what the hell is wrong with you? What are you talking about? It sounds so weird. Yeah. That's a lovely thing about heavy metal. You don't see this happening amongst fans of Backstreet Boys or K-pop like Blackpink. You don't see two Blackpink fans, okay, hey, Blackpink. They don't do that,
Robin.
Maybe,
paging for Robin. Hey, what do you think about Blackpink fans? What, they're toxic? Oh no, you didn't say that. Oh shit, I was another person. Sorry.
You say toxic, the fellow might make up Britney Spears.
Boy, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be like British Spears fan club somewhere, man. But also, like, I think we don't talk about fan clubs as well. Like when you say that you go to Hamburg, I go to Hamburg as well, but for an entirely different reason altogether, and that's for the Toby Jürgen. And you actually met some of these people while at Watkins.
The guys I camp out with are all Turbo Jürgen. So their chapter is Ursa Minor. I don't know, and I got.
It's probably one of those German chapters.
Yeah, it's one of those German chapters, and they're so much fun, man. They're so fun, I tell you. That's why I say I totally regret missing out watching Turbo Negro, because I wanted to watch fucking Marilyn Manson. It happens. That's the thing about going for festivals. Like if you're watching a show in Singapore, they watch it. You don't have to worry, like, okay, like Rudra. You're not gonna worry about Rudra clashing with True Known and like, oh, I have to choose. There it's like, you look at you have the app, you look at the run times, and then you start planning this. Okay, you have to leave at this time to get there. And it's a good 20-minute walk, because that's how big the festival grounds is. You factor in the 20-minute walk because the crowds and all that. And then like, wow, you end up sacrificing one band. Like, okay, last year when I watched when I was in Wacken, I sacrificed watching Demons and Wizards because I wanted to watch Meshuggah.
Yeah, there's always that struggle when it comes to like.
You hear that?
Especially
I love Demons and Wizards, but hey, you know what? I'm not gonna pass off the chance of watching Meshuggah, man. But you know what? The fun thing is, because the stages are like next to each other. Whenever there's a pause on the Meshuggah session, like, they're playing Heaven Denies. I'll be singing along and everyone like, what's wrong with you? You want to go there? No, honestly.
Yeah, but it's a tough fight because, like, yeah, it really sucks when you go to a festival and, like, let's say two bands that you really like perform at the same time. But speaking of like favorite bands as well, like I see that you have a Ghost t-shirt, and why can I just simply say that this is probably like one of the more newer wave of bands that you are fond of the most?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, how I got the Ghost is because of Metallica. Of course, James Hetfield was wearing the Opus Eponymous shirt, and I checked them out. And I found it interesting because like the song sounds damn catchy, and the lyrics are one kind of damn chibai, you know. And then so like the first album, the production wasn't so good. The second album, production got better. Infestissimum. And then Meliora was absolutely fantastic. And then Prequel, like Rats, blew me away. I mean, Dance Macabre is one of my favorite songs from Ghost. Actually, not just the album, like from Ghost. I love that song. And I was lucky enough, like they played in Wacken 2018. Watched that show, despite the fact that just before that show, I was robbed and I sprained my ankle. So watched Ghosts, and then last year I flew down to Brisbane and I caught them again. And honestly, like I know they're a band that's very polarizing. Like it's either you get them, you like them, or you don't. You know, there's no in between. It's kind of weird. It's one of those polarizing bands, but you have to give credit to Tobias Forge I honestly I don't know how to pronounce his name. Okay, he has done something really good because he's managed to write good music. It's catchy, you know, and they're gonna be the next gateway band, like how Metallica, a lot of people get into get deeper into heavy metal because of Metallica and Iron Maiden. The same thing is gonna happen to Ghost in future. I'm not trying to, it's not hyperbole. It's, I feel that it's the way, because honestly, like now, if I want to get somebody who is not interested in metal, like, hey, they listen to a metal band. I play something from Meliora, like Cerise or, Pinnacle to the Pit. Somebody's like more interested in classic rock, Pinnacle to the Pit, that opening bass line sounds so much like Led Zeppelin. You get people sucked in, and people want to listen to more and all that.
Not just that. I'm one of those in between fans.
Yeah.
I mean, songs like Square Hammer.
Square Hammer is
you're sucker for.
Yeah, it's got.
A sucker for it, just easy listening.
Yeah, it's not so heavy that it scares people.
Oh yeah.
But it's catchy enough, right? It's so catchy, right? That
it draws you in first.
It draws you in, but there's some people who how do you say? Like the more traditional metalheads, rather, they hear that like, no, it cannot be that catchy. No, they're thinking, but it's music, man. Enjoy it. That's not. I realized when I went there, it's like, people like they don't judge you for what you listen to. So like you have a guy with a proper vest, like all in one color, monochromatic thing, and then at the bottom I see Linkin Park. So
I would say there's nothing wrong with it also. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like bands such as Ghost or even like Trevor or even Bullet from a Valentine, for example, like they do serve a role in terms of people getting into rock and metal music. Like they may not be that person's favorite band, but they can always be the first band that will get into the genre, or they can serve as the band that introduced them to other bands as well. Like for example, like if you listen to Ghost,
they're always a gateway band.
Yeah.
Precisely. So yeah,
not so heavy enough to scare you.
Sometimes it's always good to have such bands around to introduce people into like other bands that are available as well. Because trust me, like I'll be honest with you, like there is no way that you can get into like Candlemass or Tiamat or those kind of bands right away,
No, you don't.
Or Spiritual Beggars.
You don't just jump into a band like Cannibal Corpse or Emperor or King Diamond without a gateway band, man.
Precisely, like that's almost never been.
And interesting enough, like my journey in heavy metal, right, is quite interesting because like when you pick up an instrument, especially, you start reading about, you pick up an instrument like because of like for me, Kirk Hammett. So you look at Kirk Hammett's influences. He always, especially in guitar magazines, they talk about influences, especially on like a certain solo, a certain lead line. Oh, it's very SRV. Who's SRV? You start looking who's SRV. Stevie Ray Vaughan. You start looking at Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then you start jumping into a whole different aspect of music altogether. I got into blues honestly because of heavy metal, not the other way around. So after that I started listening, and mind you, blues like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. My mom used to listen. You know, like when I was listening to Jimi Hendrix, hey wait, why used to play this back then? You know.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you. For me also, it started with like power metal, then you go to like death metal. But I'm going back to like listen. I honestly, I love like Queen, Buddy Holly, Ella Fitzgerald. It all for me. It's just backwards engineering. Yeah, and then like
you
metal
just,
listen.
you just bounce
metal
back
make
and
me
you
listen to all this,
bounce back and forth because heavy metal is such a diverse genre. You get emphasis from here and there. And when I started listening to Dream Theater, especially a lot of prog, right? And then suddenly you mentions Petrucci mentions Steve Lukather and then like, I recognize the name, because he was at that point of time he was an endorsee for EMG pickups. And I like Boto. And I remember, well, there was a soft rock stuff my mom used to play back in the day, like Rosanna. And then you start listening to songs like Rosanna. Don't talk about Africa. Africa is Africa's tremendous. Don't get me wrong, but listen to the solo at the end of Rosanna, and it's like holy shit. And especially when you're starting to learn an instrument, you're like, what the hell is he doing here, man? It's crazier than a lot of other metal guitarists would do. And you know what? All we think about is soft rock.
But you know what? I would say that at the end of the day, like most of these bands, they always play a part in everyone's musical journey. Like be it, bands like Ghost or even bands like Cradle of Filth, man. Like, I mean, they all have a role to play. But to conclude this conversation, I just want to say that I hope that in the near future, our local bands will be the ones that will provide that kind of musical education for our fellow Singaporeans into getting into the whole rock and metal community.
Honestly, I believe it's happening already.
I think it's really happened. Yeah, like Microchip Terror or like Wormrod or even Rudra. Like I see like these bands, I look up to them because these are the guys who will potentially be the stepping stones towards somebody's like musical discovery when it's just a matter of time. Like, it may not be now, but thankfully, thanks to social media and actually these bands getting more media spotlight, people are now inclined towards checking out local bands. It's no longer the case where local bands are like a niche, but rather now local bands are like commonplace, and we no longer have to look towards the West to like get Western influences where we can just look at our own background.
No,
Yeah.
The thing is, right, I think it works both ways. Like we have our local scene doing a lot for our local bands. Don't get me wrong. But I believe a little bit of recognition in the public eye would be good. Like when Wormrod made headlines in the Straits Times, which we all refer to as toilet paper, it felt good, honestly. Like, hey, now you know, now you fucking know, it's finally something else besides the Sam Willows and or whatever Kit Chan nonsense. Honestly, I hate that song by the way. And it feels good, and I think it's we should be proud that that a local band from Singapore, a small 3-piece outfit, ended up playing not really.
No, Glastonbury.
Glastonbury, yeah. They ended up playing at Glastonbury, and they were supposed to play at Wacken this year. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic. Then think about that, man. Last year I watched an Indian band, and I think it was a Cambodian band as well playing at Wacken. Bollywood.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and this year I wasn't going to. I was not planning to go this year because I had some other things to settle. But I was telling my German friends, hey, we got a Singaporean band there. You guys better go and check them out. It felt good to tell them like, hey, there's a Singapore band on the bill. Go and check them out. And it really felt good.
And I completely agree. So that's all the time that we have for today. Dan, thank you so much for turning up. As well, Sean, thank you so much, man. I'll see you guys tonight. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care, man. Bye.